and staff. I'm glad you could all make it. First, I'd just like to say, you know, something that we probably don't say often enough is thank you to our staff and appreciation for everything that you do. This last couple of weeks, have really been, I think, kind of pushing things to the limit. We've seen things happen and been called on to do things that don't happen in a normal operating season, hardly ever. And I think our staff stepped up really well and performed way beyond any expectations that we might have had. And I'd just like to say thank you and let you all know that we do really appreciate everything you do, and thanks for all the extra effort that you put into these things when crisis comes up and we have something have something like the Tyson incident and some of these things. I think you really came forward and performed very well. I think you were, you know, Friday night after a fire announcement, you were all in the office first thing Saturday morning doing things that normally never do and never have to do. So thank you. I appreciate that, and on behalf of the board, just wanted to say thank you for doing all the things that you do. So, morning, Troy. We start at 7:30.
Sorry, sir.
So, anyway, thank you to our staff, and hopefully we'll say it often enough that you realize how much we do appreciate everything that you do and the way that you do it. So,
Thank you.
With that, we'll call our meeting to order. First item on the agenda is the consent agenda. You all received the financial statements, the minutes, and the agenda electronically. If there are no changes, I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So move.
I second it.
Got a motion and a seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing none, motion passed. We'll take just a few minutes. If anybody would like to address it, get up and say anything or speak, or Troy's putting his cup down, he's going to speak.
Hi, Troy Unruh. I just wanted to say thank you for the leadership that this board and especially Lon and her staff offered during the Tyson incident. And so I'm excited about what's happening. And I'm so grateful Tyson is staying. But I just wanted to say again, thank you publicly for just the leadership and organizing all of the things to encourage not only Tyson, but also to encourage the community. So it was helpful, and it gave a lot of comfort and a lot of hope to people of Garden City and also Finney County. I'll tell you, we impact a lot of people all over the world. So I never realized until you hear reports all through the news of all the things that are happening because of this Tyson plant. So I'm excited about what's happening, and I'm glad that they're moving forward. So again, I just wanted to publicly say thank you. So. And forgive my tardiness.
We'll excuse that this time.
Since you had something nice to say.
Thank you, Troy. I appreciate the comments, and I know our staff does too. So, anybody else? Sheila doesn't want to talk.
I talk all day.
Okay. If there are no other comments, we'll move on to update from the president. Alana?
Mr. Chairman, my apologies for not catching you while you were approving the consent agenda. You guys are just too quick, but I will tell you we've made a couple of changes to the agenda because Shannon and I both have to leave for Dodge City right away this morning for the KDOT meeting in order to discuss the future T-Works planning. And obviously, we think it's very important that we get our voice heard on what the Department of Transportation looks to do for the western half of the state. So in light of that, Shannon's report, the Gruen and Gruen Market Study report that he has scheduled to provide to you the last 2 meetings, we apologize. We're going to ask you to go ahead and push that back 1 more month because it will take some time to go through that. We want you to have plenty of time to ask the questions you have. It is a very impressive report, but again, we want you to have plenty of time to interact with that report. So if it's okay with you, we'll save his report for the next monthly meeting when all of the board is here and we're able to give him the full amount of time that he needs. Is that okay?
Well, that,
I don't know, maybe I'm not gonna be here next meeting.
Well, maybe you're not. Maybe you'll have to come get a personal report then.
next meeting is at the meeting that Phil and you are
Yeah,
gonna.
we have the Black Hills Energy Leadership Team in the community following the next meeting, yeah, in the September board meeting, yeah.
Okay, and will we have adequate time?
We'll make
do
adequate
that?
time for him
Okay.
at that
I'll be
one.
the whole
I may
agenda.
have to leave a little early at
You
that
what?
meeting.
I'll be the whole agenda.
Okay,
I may have to leave a little early at the next meeting just because I'm the first program that Black Hills has on their agenda for their leadership team. But certainly you guys know how to run a meeting with or without
okay,
me.
I think we can handle that then. We'll just forego Shannon's report today and move
And
it.
I'm going to give you a pretty quick report. Fortunately,
All right.
I've had the opportunity to visit with everybody but Larry because he works too much. So most of you are caught up on what's happening, what's been happening in the office the last few weeks. But I'll go ahead and do my report for you. So
Well, you better get started if you're gonna run out of time.
I'm going, okay. So no real important prospect updates. Project Birmingham continues to move forward. They do have an offer on some property, and we're hopeful that they're able to get that closed shortly. Pinky's closed their, we did an e-community loan for Pinky's, and they have signed their lease and started construction in their new location. They are locating in the Garden City Plaza, so we're very excited for them, and they're very excited. They've been very, very patient through this process of finding them a location that would work. Project Rochester, the site cleanup is nearly complete for them, and that is, again, the First National Bank project between going up the hill from Quick Shop to Target. And actually, First National Bank reached out yesterday. They're a finalist, one of the 3 finalists for a banking award that they're going to Minneapolis next month for. And they were doing a video shoot to kind of tell their story at that conference. So they asked if I would be willing to speak about their project and about them in general in the community on video yesterday, which we were able to do late yesterday afternoon. So we're excited for them, and I've asked them to keep us posted on how they do in the competition. Let's see here. Trying to just focus on the things that are important for you. August, again, was an extraordinarily busy month. We had a lot going on, and then, of course, threw in a weekend full of adventure that we hope we don't have to do anytime soon again. September is another busy month. As I mentioned earlier, Shannon and I have to be at a KDOT meeting in Dodge City this morning. Excuse me. And then we're doing both of our quarterly reports, County Commission and City Commission, next Tuesday, September 3rd. And then we just scheduled the Holcomb City Council quarterly update for the week following that on Wednesday evening. So a lot of stuff going on. And I will be at CREDA in Hayes next week, so I will be out of the office on Wednesday and Thursday. Certainly available by phone or email if you need anything during that time. Childcare, we have been continuing to work with communities across the region on childcare. I went and spoke at a duologue in Phillipsburg last week. We had about 30 communities represented there who have all identified childcare as a significant issue in their communities. So we continue to work through setting up a toolkit, if you will, and being able to offer a childcare and early learning boot camp that we would offer here. Communities would have the opportunity to sign up, come to Garden City immerse themselves in childcare and early learning for a day and a half or 2 day of programming, and then go back to their communities and put that in place. So we had a call yesterday afternoon with the Dane Henson Foundation, talking about how they can utilize this program for their Northwest Kansas communities that they serve, and then also working with Child Care Aware, which is a statewide agency, on partnering to bring them in on that boot camp as well. So lots of exciting stuff happening with child care. The 3rd Street facility has been purchased by a private developer, and we go to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the conditional use permit for the use of childcare in the back portion of that building. And then we've got all the architectural drawings, everything ready to go. So once we have that conditional use permit, they'll be able to start construction right away. That board of directors is in the formation stages right now. We're just waiting on the City of Garden City will appoint their board representative, and Finney County will appoint their board representative, hopefully this coming week. And we'll be able to hold our first meetings, approve the lease, approve all of the documents and so forth for the network.
When you go to zoning meeting, will they approve conditional use for both makerspace and childcare, or just childcare?
Childcare needs that. It was already zoned for.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So it's already
Yeah, childcare,
cleared for
regardless of where you
makerspace,
put
we just
it,
have to.
requires a conditional use
Okay.
permit. Mhm. Yeah. So, again, upcoming events, quarterly reports, County Commission, City Commission, September 3rd, Garden City Community College. I did visit with Dr. Ruda last night. He wants me to come and actually do that report in person, which will be nice, give the trustees the opportunity to ask any questions they might have. And then City of Holcomb, as I said, we've just scheduled, excuse me, for the 2nd week in September. So that is all that I have, unless you have any questions for me.
No, ma'am.
Any questions? In a nutshell, that's it. Very good. We'll move forward then. Nicole?
Let's get
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yesterday, I told you guys last month that we've been working with the college and the high school and 10 other high schools in our region it's a community task force for their Perkins 5 funding, which is how they fund all their CTE programs, career and tech ed programs. That first community task force meeting was held yesterday at the college. It was fairly well attended, and the people that showed up really participated, and so we walked them through the data and gave them their assignments, and so we're moving forward with that. That needs assessment we'll be due in February, so we'll be having some pretty intense meetings up until then. We need to meet 3 more times. But we've had really good community participation from it, so I think it'll be good. The Youth Development Committee has also set their dates for their 2019-2020 school year. The Freshman Career Fair will be on December 7th, and then the Student Job Fair will be on April 29th, 2020. We're working on sending some save the dates out to make sure that we get on the employer schedules. As far as workforce development goes, we were working with the Builders Association on a construction science pathway at the high school and then essentially at the college as well. They have completed what they would like their pathways and degree program to look like, so we're going to meet with the college and the high school. They've both been very perceptive to it, but I think there's some other areas that we can probably specialize in, some electrical specialization, some HVAC, and some things like that I think we can do a one-off on the construction program. We will start the needs assessment on that soon, which a lot of the work on that's already done, but for K-Board, we have to jump through the hoops of doing the actual formal surveys to prove the need. We are done with the dental assistant needs assessment, and Dr. Ruda and Mark Malone and Chuck Pfeiffer will be visiting Flint Hills Technical and Salina Technical in the next couple of weeks. They have dental assistant programs, and both of them have agreed to let Garden City Community College come in whatever ways they can help get ours started. They're willing. So they're going to go tour those facilities and see what we need to do, maybe tell us what works, what doesn't work, so that we can get the best program going. So they are moving forward with that. And I just thought I would give you guys a chance to look at that. That's what the needs assessment looks like when it's done. So that was the dental assistant one. So when I talk about needs assessment, that's what we're doing. We're also getting ready to do, Shannon and I are gonna work on some additional needs assessment for the academic side of things. We do a lot of tech stuff, but now we've had Mark Malone come in and ask, he thinks we have some needs for some four-year programs to be on campus, so we're gonna do some needs assessment for those and move forward with those. And this is kind of has to do with the Tyson event, but I don't know if you guys are aware, but Garden City Community College and Hector Martinez has been providing the Upward Academy, which is a federal type program, and they provide GED, citizenship classes, and ESL classes. And Tyson is the one that is hosting it. So they've been out there doing that since about the first part of August. They've been engaged with that, and then, of course, the fire happened. And we had a meeting a couple weeks ago with Hector and Dr. Ruda and asked if there would be capabilities of them offering more classes since the Tyson plant is down right now, and they were very receptive to that. So I think that in addition to the ESL, GED, and citizenship, I think we talked about maybe offering some other, if it's industrial maintenance classes that they needed, whatever types of classes they're needing, now would be the time to get those employees trained up, because if they haven't been shipped elsewhere, then they're here, they're just kind of hanging out. So it'd be a good time to get them educated up. And Tyson was very receptive to that, as well as the college. So they're moving forward with that.
Yeah, there was a very good article in the Hutchinson News Sunday on that, and gave pretty good coverage and pretty well addressed the program and made it look really good. So.
Yep. And that's all I have, unless you guys have questions.
I mean, coming up with new program, or additional programs, I mean, is Tyson gonna be down that long where those things
These
will
are
not
actually
be-
really short-term classes, so
Okay.
they're
Yeah.
just opportunities for additional folks. The Upward Academy, they have several people sign up for it each time that they start a new session, and they can't take everybody, obviously, so they have to just narrow it down to the top 30 to 40 that can actually participate. But the community college said they were willing to go out, offer even on B shift, so that the employees could maintain their normal schedules through
Okay.
the period, if you will. So it was really just adding additional opportunities, but they're very quick term
Turnaround, quick
courses.
I
turnaround.
think the longest one
Yeah.
that's offered would be, well, I think Upward Academy is a 6-week deal, but they work that in their schedule. But industrial maintenance and the things that they would do at the college would at most be 6 weeks.
Yeah. I would
Most-
tell you also, we did have some challenges with data. So the Department of Labor and Kansas Board of Regents worked together on putting together the need for occupations, specific occupations into the future, so that this Perkins funding could be best allocated within the community. Unfortunately, Jenny Hands, the career and tech ed advisor from the high school, Garden City High School, came back from the first meeting and said, we have some kind of a problem, because they're showing a huge need in the restaurant and event management category. And, huge, obviously, is different to everybody. They were showing most of our demand in that, in that.
1,700 new facilities.
In that career field. So Nicole immediately went to work trying to figure out what the issue was. Jenny brought it to KBOR's attention while they were in the discussion, and they said, the data's the data, Department of Labor compiles that, data's the data. Well, Nicole goes through the spreadsheet and says, well, yes, if our meat cutters and slaughter employees are restaurant and event management, then yeah, the data's the data. So obviously we didn't agree with that. The Nexus code would never fit in that category. I reached out to both KBOR and Department of Labor for their data analysis side, and they did respond back that Department of Labor did that, yeah, we decided to move it there. Nationally, it should be in manufacturing, but we decided to move it because we felt like there were more classes related to food industry, and obviously with culinary arts, we explained that culinary arts and what we do at our packing houses and food manufacturing is not culinary in nature, it's manufacturing in
Yeah.
nature.
Yeah.
So they fortunately recognize that we are the expert boots on the ground as they described it and are taking that into consideration. So we should get that fixed. Why it's important is because the funding for future workforce training programs is going to be decided based on where we show the need for occupations in the future. And we couldn't afford to have misrepresented data out there. So we did take that battle on.
Well, and that's why the community task force on the Perkins side is so imperative, because the handout that they gave us from Department of Labor is literally thousands of lines of data. And so it's important that we have that community that comes in and they're able to help us go through those lines and say, hey, I don't really think this career belongs in this category. So we have the opportunity to dispute the data, but we just have to prove the case of why it needs to be moved. The meat packing one isn't a hard case to prove. That was the glaringly difference one, because we knew that's an odd thing to have such a huge job demand in. There's a couple others that have kind of popped out that are interesting, but just we'll have to have our employers dig more into it and see if they agree with those classifications. But so they're at least giving us the opportunity to change the data if we so choose.
So you think they'll adjust that
Yes.
classification?
We
and
believe strongly that they will. It was their decision to move it.
Manufacturing.
You know, and they were very clear in that we, at the Department of Labor, decided that we would move it. So obviously, because nationally it's recognized that that is a manufacturing career pathway and not restaurant and event management. The other thing it did, obviously, though, is skew those wages in that category as well, because it took in all of these higher wages from our true advanced food manufacturing and raised up what those careers actually pay.
Yeah, I
It looked like
can
they paid
imagine
quite a bit more.
a few of the hospitality people would have appreciated,
They might not have liked
moving
having
into a
to
higher,
increase their wages.
wage
Yeah,
classification. So,
exactly.
okay. I just wanted to say one thing, and I was going to mention it earlier. I wanted to thank Trevor Hands and Sean Collins too for coming in and working with our staff to design logos and stuff for our pins and for our signs and those kinds of things that was a big help, and I wanted to recognize those two for also stepping up and doing that. So, okay. Any other questions for Nicole or anything? Scott?
Morning.
Morning.
The last month's visits to the website were up about double, about 12,500 visits to the website, mainly because of our coverage of the Tyson plant fire and the aftermath of the week after. You can really see the strong impact on our social media numbers below. One thing I wanted to point out is the huge impact on the FCEDC Facebook page, which normally doesn't get a whole lot of visits or views. The video that Tom was talking about that Trevor put together, posted on the FCEDC Facebook page itself, was viewed nearly 1,500 times, which was an increase of nearly 4,000% over the typical monthly views the page gets. That video post reached 43,000 people, an increase of 14,000% over the previous month's reach, and saw 10,000 engagements, a nearly almost 10,000% increase over the typical month for the FCEDC Facebook page. And I'm not a stats guy, but that seems like kind of a lot.
You think?
Quite a lot.
Yeah, it would be defined as a lot, that's true.
And you can see the Journal and the Greater Garden City Facebook post reach, which was up 24,000 for the Journal and 13,000 engagements, about 2,300 for Greater Garden City and 1,969 post engagements. Twitter impressions were about average. You can see down at the top Facebook posts, all of them pretty much are related to Tyson coverage. Just updating the Journal's profile picture with the We Stand with Tyson logo reached 18,000 people and was shared 1,500 times. The initial story about the Tyson fire that Nicole wrote reached about 4,500 people, had about 1,400 clicks and 1,400 likes, comments, or shares. The video just on on Greater Garden City and the Journal's Facebook pages reached about 4,500 people itself. You can see there, about 5,500 people read the 2 stories about first responders talking about the fire and about the visit by Governor Laura Kelly and Tyson officials talking about plans to rebuild. And that is my final report.
Yeah, and.
It is sad.
In case you didn't catch that, that will be Scott's final report, as he has decided to move up the road. He's taken on a couple of new challenges. First and mostly is he's accepted a job with the city of Phillipsburg, and will be moving there in a couple of weeks. Secondly, he stepped out, bought a ring for a gal, and asked her to accept that, and she did. And so you just, it works out great somewhere down the road, Scott. It'll be fine. So, good luck. Thank you for everything that you've done. We've really appreciated you having you as part of our staff, so thank you.
Went out on top, man, with those numbers.
Yeah, right. Good time to pack it forward, so. Shannon, do you want to address anything at all before you leave?
No, I'm gonna take up all your time next month.
All right,
I'll save my time for that one.
very good. Well, we do need a 10 minutes for we don't need executive
No, sir, we don't need
session.
an executive session.
All right. Well, I have no new business to announce, no old business to carry forward. Do not need an executive session, so I guess with that, we will accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And second, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
And we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, Troy.
Oh, thank you.